Coming up on today's Philadelphia 76ers Now, we're going to open up the floor, take your questions, analysis, hot takes, and more right here on the show. Always enjoy chopping it up with all of the real ones who tune into the show. This mailbag coming from our live show where you have questions, I have answers, but it's also an opportunity, as I said, for you to share your opinions, and I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic weekend. I also want everybody to pat themselves on the back. You have helped Philadelphia 76ers Now have the best month stretch in the history of this channel, which I launched back during the summer of 2021, and that was when we were talking about Ben Simmons a lot. We've come a long way since then. And check out these numbers among all NBA channels at Chat Sports. The most subscribers picked up since July 1. We picked up the second most subscribers. We're 18 behind the lead, right? Or no, almost 100 behind the lead. I'm bad at math. Either way, we're closing in on overtaking Warriors today for the most subscribers picked up since the start of this month. So hit that subscribe button right now. Even when it's not hot out on the NBA streets, we still bring you excellent, elite Sixers coverage that you don't want to miss year-round. So hit that sub button. 100 G's getting us started. What do you think the 76ers are going to do to finish NBA free agency? It's a good question, Chip, because Philadelphia, as we know, is in a very tight financial situation. They really can't make any other moves outside of vet-min contracts unless they pull off that weird maneuvering where they sign KJ Martin to that massive deal and then they use him to trade him away in order to match salary. But who are some players, what are some moves that maybe come to mind if you're the Sixers here?
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at vet-min guys, so at that point it kind of depends on what area you want to go, what kind of skill set you want to go after. I'm still a big fan of bringing Kyle Lowry back.
Yep.
Now we'll see. Jeff Dowden's had a very good summer league in Utah, so we'll see if maybe they like him more as a younger option, but I think you want the vet in there with Jared McCain, mentoring him, teaching him. I love the idea as well of bringing Marcus Morris back. I think, you have a couple open roster spots, fill some guys that have some continuity with the city and are from the city and know what the city is all about, know how your team plays. So if it was up to me, right now I'd bring back Kyle Lowry on a minimum, bring back Marcus Morris on a minimum, and that's what I'd roll with heading into next season.
Like Lowry, like Morris, you could go Jay Crowder, who's still out there. You could go Luke Kennard, although I think you could get some more money from another team out there. But I like where the Sixers are positioned right now. Luffy, next up. Do you think Dorian Finney-Smith is still in play for us? We talked about this earlier this week where if Philadelphia were to give KJ Martin a bag and then use him as a trade chip for Dorian Finney-Smith, you could technically find a loophole in the NBA system to try to pull off that trade. It'll be difficult, and I don't think the Brooklyn Nets, as part of their rebuild, would want to take on the contract for KJ Martin. You could make it non-guaranteed after this upcoming season, add a player option on there. That is one way to get it done. It is somewhat unrealistic just because of where the Sixers are at with their money. But it would be a dream move for me. And that is the move I would like to see the Sixers make to address power forward. And then you're deeper at the wing because coming in off the bench would be Kelly Oubre, who could play the 2 or the wing, or Caleb Martin, who can play the 4 or the wing. Dorian Finney-Smith is just a player who I think can knock down the corner 3 at a really high clip, especially when he's on a good squad. He did that with Dallas. He's an excellent player. He's gritty, he's tough, he's physical, he can guard multiple positions, and I love the makeup and the skill set of Dorian Finney-Smith. Clive Johnson, Adem Bona, Summer League winner because he has Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond to learn from. Yeah, it's not a bad point. I mean, Joel Embiid is one of the most gifted bigs in the history of the NBA, the way that he moves and the arsenal of moves that he has. Don't say that he's a foul merchant when he's got the footwork of Hakeem. Sometimes he can overpower you physically like a Shaquille O'Neal. He'll hit you with the jab step, knock down the mid-range. He'll hit you with the spin move, throw down the dunk. He'll go step back, hit the mid-range or the 3. He could put the ball on the floor. I'd frankly like to see Embiid become more of a lob threat. I don't think the Sixers have really utilized that enough. And then Andre Drummond is one of the best rebounding bigs of this generation. I think Daryl Morey watches the show because Daryl Morey, well after I had said that, said, we're excited to bring Andre Drummond back, who's one of the best rebounders that the NBA has seen in recent memory. He really is. A knack for crashing the glass, has great instincts there. You put him on this team against the New York Knicks, imagine what he could have done in rebounding the basketball in that first round when the Sixers could not buy a rebound. And for Bona, he's got athleticism like Embiid. He's got a motor like Drummond. He can block shots in sky. He can be a lob threat. When he gets momentum going to the cup, he can be dangerous. He's raw. So yes, he can learn and he can develop under the tutelage of Embiid and Andre Drummond. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here if you want to get on our next mailbag. Just hit that sub button. Furthermore, hit that bell icon. Turn on those notifications if you're a true real one. Therefore, anytime we push out a show or go live, you will be notified. T, do you think it's better to pay KJ Martin to trade him and picks for a 4 during the season or just run switchable 2 through 4? I always think it's good to be switchable as a team and as a collective basketball unit in today's positionless NBA. But if you could trade KJ Martin for Dorian Finney-Smith, I do think it helps you vastly improve. Chip has talked about some of the financials as our version of Bobby Marks with the salary cap has a great understanding of that. Where do you kind of stand on that? And the realistic nature behind actually pulling that off. I just don't think that you can do it because I don't know if a team, whether they're rebuilding, they have money or not, wants to pay a bunch of money for KJ Martin.
Yeah, look, it's going to be very interesting. Whatever happens with KJ Martin, it's going to be happening. They're going to sign him now, and then he'll be traded at the deadline. So they're going to probably have some players that they have in mind, Daryl Morey will, that they want to trade for, such as a Dorian Finney-Smith. They'll look at how much money these players are making, and then try to sign KJ Martin for that, type of deal. I will say that what you can do with KJ Martin is give him a 2-year deal, but make that second year non-guaranteed. That way, whatever team you're trading him to, you can just cut him at the end of the year. No harm, no foul, and then you just give them a bunch of picks as well. So someone like a Dorian Finney-Smith, a Cam Johnson from Brooklyn, it's going to be a rebuilding team, someone who won't mind taking on that extra salary for one season to acquire some picks, send out a good player. So I think it is pretty realistic that a move gets made, again, at the trade deadline, not right now, because there's these weird salary cap rules with KJ Martin's salary, so don't expect anything at this moment. But I will say, come the trade deadline, KJ Martin could be the Sixers' most important trade piece, which sounds crazy to say, but it's true.
Big Za, Sixers will finish with the 1st or 2nd seed. They certainly have the talent to do that. But let me go spin zone on you and make you think about something. If you're the Sixers, Paul George is coming off the healthiest season that he's had in a long time. You have Joel Embiid who's playing in the Olympics coming off the knee injury. What you need if you're Philadelphia to have a real chance of winning a title is for Embiid and Paul George to be healthy. With that being said, could we see the Sixers preserve their health knowing that they just want and need Embiid and Paul George to be healthy for April, May, and June? And if that's the case, do they sacrifice some wins and playing time during the regular season where both players play 55 to 60 games? If that happens, going to be harder to get that number 1 or 2 seed. And then you just put your eggs in the basket of, we have all this talent. If it comes down to a game 7, you got to win it on the road. We saw what happened during 2019 when Philadelphia got that number 1 seed. They lost in the second round to the Atlanta Hawks. Ideally, you want to have that game 7 at home against New York. You don't want to go to MSG. You don't want to have to go to TD Garden to play the Celtics. But think about it in that way. What do you side with? 1 or 2 seed in the regular season or being healthy and fresh for a playoff run, in which Embiid has never been healthy for a playoff run? Certainly interesting. Ryan Cooper, their biggest advantages against Philly, Horford, Porzingis, because they take Embiid out of the paint on defense, which makes it easier for Tatum and Brown to get to the rim. And during that segment when we were stacking up Philly with Boston and New York, I did talk about that, and it's a great point, right? If Porzingis were to play in the Eastern Conference Finals, if Philadelphia were to advance, I would have been interested to see what that matchup would have been. Or in fact, Yeah, it would have been Eastern Conference Finals, right? Yeah, Eastern Conference Finals. If they played against one another, yeah, because the Knicks moved on to play the Pacers. But if they were to have matched up in the playoffs and Porzingis was healthy, I agree. You know, he has that ability to take it out to the three-point arc. Embiid can get tired and gassed in trying to get out there. And then you take Embiid, great rim protector, away from the paint, away from the rim, opens up driving lanes for everybody else on that Celtics team. So that is a matchup. If these two teams play in the playoffs next year, obviously we could take a look at that matchup in the regular season if both bigs are healthy to watch out for. KZ, do you think Embiid has taken a playbook from his old pal Ben Simmons by fouling out in the Olympics to preserve his health? Of note, for those not familiar, international play, 5 fouls, not 6 fouls at the NBA level for you to get fouled out. Look, I think Embiid is just trying to get into shape here, doesn't know the international rules. I thought he made some good plays. I do, and he got the start for Team USA. That's pretty awesome. Grade the Sixers offseason so far. A, B, C, D, or F. Sound off with what you think. Thank you so much for watching us here on 76ers Now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are on the pursuit of 20,000 subscribers right here on the show.